Admin Steve here. Probably end up being Rothgar or at least Cloud in Scars of Honor. I wanted to quickly come and have a catch up with you guys. Um, okay, so Twitch needs click here to grant permissions. Oh God Almighty! Let's all throw, shall we? Every time, every time. Um, I wanted to just quickly stop in and just say I wanted to show off the a little bit of the press kit. So this is an upcoming MMORPG that I've been watching for a little while. How do I look? I'm and I got to start off straight away by saying I'm nervous about the MMO genre. Ever since Ashes of Scamation, Ashes of Creation, burnt us, I'm nervous to really get behind the MMO genre at the moment. I'm behind the MMO player base or like the devs. There are some AAA devs out there who still diehards to this day, but it just seems like Kickstarter is just the place where all the scams go at the moment. MMOs are just so expensive. No one's realistically doing them properly. Um, Not doing them properly, but they're like once again, Ashes, 100 million. They were like stripping funds, paying this huge litigation. It went on for 10 years. Brings us to Scars of Honor. Scars of Honor is, look, very similar to the creation or the development time period, but the difference is everyone is doing it for free. It's only recently they've actually started paying their staff, so that's why it was sort of like the main dev. He was just plotting along on his own, just slowly ticking away, ticking away, ticking away. Started getting more and more people actually involved, and said, "Hey, let's do this. Like, let's jump in, donate your time, donate your energy," and they kept going. So, look, easiest way, we'll zoom through the press kit. The press kit, look, everything is all like everyone can always see a press kit. Scars of Honor, the developer is Beast Burst Entertainment, studio location Sofia in Bulgaria. Honestly, I actually love this studio. They're brilliant group of people. The main dev, he's just brilliant. He does Sundays every second Sunday. Well, it's Mondays for us, but he's just so passionate with his videos. Status, obviously, active development. Release date Q4 26. So they have a early gameplay coming out the 30th of April. 30th of April to the 12th of May. Hopefully it says a little bit in here and I don't forget it. But yeah, jump over to Steam, give them a wish list it, and you can actually request to jump in on the gameplay. Pricing free. That is a huge thing that I will come back to. That is probably the number one thing that I am the most nervous about with MMOs at the moment. So, about the game, Scars of Honor is a free-to-play fantasy MMORPG where Scars tell stories. Scars is sort of like the talent tree kind of thing. Um, Pay to win doesn't exist. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of backstory to that pay to win statement right there, because that's the biggest part that they have been talking about. In one of the streams, he puts up about bag space and says, "Hey, this is the bag space. You can buy bag space. It's one of the cosmetics, so that way we can, because that's how they're going to make their money. It's no subscription, no purchase price, no pay to win. So it's gonna be loaded up to the hills of cosmetics. That's my feeling. They come out and said, while we're going to have cosmetics, it's always going to be in line with the feel of the game. So it's like you're not just going to run around as a female warrior wearing a nun's outfit or a kitchen maid's outfit, and people are going to be gooning all over them and stuff like that. They are really trying to stay pretty strict on the cosmetics. So then they were talking about the bag space, and he said, yeah, you can buy bag space. And someone actually commented saying, I thought you said it's got no pay to win. And then all of a sudden the discussion started, and it was, well, hang on a second. And this is the dev, I'm talking as the dev. The dev said, do you think bag space is a pay to win feature? And it was back and forth, and he said, stuff it, let's do it. So he put up a poll and got the actual player membership or the player base to vote on it and said whether they believed it was pay to win or not. Now, in the end, the poll just ticked over more than less. So more people, like 55%, whatever it was, voted that it was pay to win. Instantly gone. He removed that feature from the game. Said, okay, gone. We said we were going to be no pay to win, and if you're saying it is pay to win, and personally I believe it is. If you can buy bag space, that means you can go out and craft, to gather for longer than me, then you can craft more than me, and it's like a pay to progress. If you've got all this bag space and you've got all these resources, and you can do less trips back to base compared to me, then that's giving you that little step. It's not a huge pay to win like crazy saying, oh, I'm going to buy that sword that is better stats than that other sword, but it is pay to win in my opinion. So luckily they removed it. So it's set in the world of Aragon, two great alliances, the Sacred Order and the Domination. I'll touch on them shortly. Clash over the ruins of a shattered empire while an ancient ice dragon stirs in the frozen north. Players choose their faction, race, and class to forge a unique hero through skill-based combat, a deep talents and scars system, and endlessly replayable, ever-shifting dungeons. So there's multiple things there that I want to touch on. Factions, races, and classes. I'm not a huge class is locked to race kind of guy. I just were like in Ash's Creation, I was in a dwarf guild. It was okay in there. Like I met up a real good group of guys, and they'll be running a guild in Scars of Honor as well. The issue was once we left Ashes and we went to another game, I think we were going to play a little bit of Monsters and Memories. All of a sudden, they had classes locked behind the race. So then this dwarf community were like, well, we're all dwarves. And I'm like, well, hang on. I rather gameplay than being a dwarf, or being a giant, being an ogre, being a human, being an elf, whatever. I don't actually care for race as much as I care about for class. And it went back and forth, and I end up having a chat to the guild leader, and I was actually the PvP lead, and I just said, look, I got to take a step back. I got to take a step back from the guild. I got to leave the guild because it's unfair of me to put my feelings onto you guys, and it's unfair of me to put you into an awkward position because now you've got to accept the long legs into your guild and stuff like that. So I end up stepping away from them. Since then, they have actually dropped the dwarf only. They are like their core team is a dwarf community, but they've got friends of the dwarves, so they're friends with long legs. So I'll most likely be going back. But yeah, so then that brings me to Scars of Honor. The class is tied to the race, and then the race is also tied to the faction. So it's like they're doubling down. So you sort of got like good versus evil, and then good has the humans, the elves, whatever, the dwarves, and the evil has the orcs and ogres and the necromancers and stuff. So it's going to really control where you go. And once again, for me, it'll just be me picking the class I want to play. Then I'll go the race, and then obviously that race will be in the faction. That's the easiest way. I know guilds are going to be back and forth talking about a certain amount of things, but that's just the way it's going to have to be. Now they talk about the ever shifting dungeons, so it is like procedurally generated dungeons. So you when you run that dungeon, and I did actually ask on the Discord channel for a little bit of feedback in regards to the mobs in the dungeon, because when I was talking to some of the guys, I was like, yeah, well, because we run a dungeon, whatever, in WoW, and the tank would just memorize the dungeon. And I was like, I can't do it. I've always been a DPS player. I've never been a tank player. So for me, I was like, no way could I do that. I'm not going to learn these dungeons. I'm not going to be able to do all this. They eventually, because they're rerunning the same dungeon so much, they get used to it. They understand where they're going. But that brings on this game. After every time you defeat the dungeon, it changes. It gets harder and everything like that. Now, from what my understanding also is, the mobs slightly alter as well. Because then the guys were like, oh, well, we don't care. We won't learn the dungeon. We'll just learn the mobs. And it'll be just as easy. You just got to keep running around and get to the end. But now Scars of Honor is saying, no, we'll actually change the mobs too. Like it'll stay if you're in a big tree and it's overrun by spiders, it'll be the spider mobs. But whether it's going to be like health points, attack power, skills, talent, stuff like that will be slightly altered. That's their goal. So they do. I won't go over PvP yet because that's a little later. So a live-in MMORPG world, handcrafted fantasy world where combat is skillful, classes are endlessly customizable, and adventures wait around every corner. There's always adventures. Talents and scars. So this is the whole part. I'll show you the scar tree or the talent tree shortly. It's enormous. It is absolutely enormous. The only issue I truly have with it is it's enormous. Like it's sometimes is more better. We'll find it. That's like I just find with balancing, it's so hard if you've got thousands of variations. So I know they say, oh no, but it gives you then 999 other options to try to go up against the meta and stuff like that. But normally that's not how it works. Normally the my autism is just not good enough. Mine's more ADHD. I lose attention span. But some of my friends' autism, they are like the professional IQ Einstein autists. They go through the nitty gritties and they master it. And they'll find the meta. They will, and it is very, very hard to balance all the rest. But we'll come across that. That's early talk because let's face it, it's not even actually at like beta stage, like early access stage. They haven't released it yet. It is at that stage, but they haven't released it. Is what I mean. Um, so dynamic combat. Every class, tank, healer, damage dealer is designed to feel dynamic, aggressive, and impactful. Combat is built around mastery and agency, not autopilot rotations. Obviously, in a lot of MMOs at the moment, it's rotation, rotation, rotation. I won't talk too much in regards to that because rotation is key for most of the time, especially tab targeting. So I don't know how they'll get away from that rotation style. Personally, for me, PvP, I love melee. I'll probably be like a fighter or a warrior or something like that. PvE, though, I love range. I'll go a mage for this one. Ever-shifting dungeons. I touched on this before. Dungeons are designed to surprise you. Shifting encounters, evolving mechanics, rogue-like elements, and a strong focus on cooperation, and replayability. Even on your 50th run, a dungeon should still feel tense, unpredictable, and worth mastering. Fair and competitive PvP. So skill-driven arenas like Thalen's Ring and objective-focused battlegrounds like Morning Pass with normalized gear modes and class mirror fights for pure mastery. So what they're actually talking about is some of the arenas everyone gets the same gear. Everyone is sort of like back in WoW, you'd get a twink, but you could really crank up your twink. This is everyone is level 20 and everyone is in the exact same gear. Then it's up to you, and that's where it comes down to that mirror match, and then it comes down to actually skill and battle more than anything. Hardcore service, so separate realms, turnaround risk, consequence, and high stakes, PvE plus PvP. I like the PvP, but we'll see how they do it. I hated Ashes of Creation's PvP. It was they didn't have it ready yet. They'd get like a certain person to do the gank, and then you'd just kill. They'd give you all the gear, and then you'd kill them, and they'd give all the gear. It was just, yeah, it was a pain. Gathering and crafting. So this was a interesting one. I'll see if I can find one of the videos. When you're hitting the tree, they've actually made it into like a little mini game, because what they've done is they're trying to get rid of the bots. They're trying to get rid of the people who are just resource farming, gold sellers, all that kind of stuff. So by having it as an actual mini game for everything, so if you're hitting down the tree and you've got to stop the arrow in the bar, it's very, very difficult for the bot creators to actually duplicate. So, studio overview. Beast Burst Entertainment is an independent game studio headquartered in Sofia, Bulgaria, with additional team presence in other regions. The studio is fully dedicated to developing and self-publishing Scars of Honor, so that's a little tick as well. A community-driven MMORPG built around fair, free-to-play design, social gameplay, and long-term collaboration with its players. The team includes specialists in design, engineering, art, and narrative with a shared ethos of honesty, teamwork, and close cooperation with their community, currently consisting of 120 plus employees, which is huge. I won't worry about the videos. There's heaps of videos. Head over to scarsofhonor.com and check it out. I'll go into the actually here. So I'll show you this first. So this is what I was talking about before. So that's the Sacred Order. That's the Domination. So associated races. So that's where I was saying was good is going to be human, sun elf, dwarf, and let's say Baron. And then you've got Orc, Infernal, Demon, Undead, and Grontha. That's going to be... I don't know who I'm going to play, I must admit. Maybe I'll go an Elf. I did do an Undead last time. I'll have to see what the actual classes are. Gallery. Where did I see the photo? Here. Look at that. They're your talent lines. So that's what I was talking about before. Was it's huge. I don't even believe that's actually all of them. It's enormous. Now there has been a lot of people who have brought up about the cartoon style graphic. The devs touched on that, and what they said was Unreal Engine 5 is the duck's nuts right now. But a couple of years ago was Unreal Engine 4. And then a couple of years before that was Unreal Engine 3. So, like, if they built this game, and it's taken them 8 years kind of thing, if they built this game in that realism, ray tracing, DLS5, like all this, the sun shining through the trees, eventually it would look ugly. But this style it's forever. It's always like you can obviously tweak a little bit. Like I saw Albion is doing a little bit of a tweak with their mapping systems and everything like that, but the style itself is always there. So I think that's one of the main things that they've gone this path, and I'm all for it. Honestly, I would much rather this style graphic and a good game with nice mechanics, nice questing, nice PvP, nice PvE, compared to a what was that most Quinfall, just garbage, AI slop, buggy, just might look graphically good, graphically heavy, but just crap. So I really have high hopes for this one, I must admit, and that's the end of them. So I think honestly, like I'll go down to the classes just quickly. Now they are saying that there's going to be like you can obviously build the classes to a certain degree how you want. So there's going to be like battle mages where it might be heavier class, heavier items, heavier gear, but you're a mage, so you might be. I haven't seen too deep into what it is, but it's at least then you can be a bit more frontline instead of a glass cannon like a normal mage. So you got the warrior, which is the normal frontline fighter, the assassin, which is a mobile finesse fighter, druid, summoner, shapeshifter, mage, which gonna be me, range damage dealer. I normally am a necro. I must admit, I do necro in a lot of games, but I didn't really rate the necro in Monsters and Memories. So I don't know. Same as Pantheon as well. So I don't know. Maybe they'll do it right in this, and I'll end up leaning back towards it. But for now, I reckon I'm going to go mage. Mystic, which is a debuffer, a damage dealer. Pirate, which is a melee ranged hybrid. The priest, which is pretty much a healer, damage dealer. Ranger, which is once again another range damage dealer, and the paladin, which is a frontline holy fighter. Yeah, so that's literally it. I just wanted to quickly just log in, give you guys a rundown. Hopefully, I have actually applied to be content creator for Scars of Honor, so hopefully we get accepted and we'll be jumping onto the streams 30th of April, and yeah, it kicks off 30th of April to 12th of May. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks heaps for tuning in, and hopefully I'll talk to you all very soon. Alright, guys, just remember, game has got a game, it'll never be game over. Peace out.